I know some people probably had it hard, but I was blessed. I ain't never saw my mom and daddy stressed. They only shows success. I'm living comfort from the sweat off they backs, and that's why all I ever wanted was to give it back. I'm not ashamed cause I was raised right. Nope. I would only be ashamed if I didn't help you fight through the pain, help you journey out the games that your mind played. No matter what, I'm never letting my shine fade away. Forever searching for knowledge, hoping I find grace. Keep your intentions pure, be sure about the risk you take. Pop said failure builds character. I came up short a time or two. Your mind know what your heart been through. Don't let that pressure startle you, and faith out in the Lord will do you justice. We sat and we discuss it. This assistance for the public. A little love will help recover from your struggle. If iron sharpens iron, and let's turn out together forever. J.O.P. Journey Out Podcast. Welcome to the Journey Out Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Journey Out Podcast. Today we have another amazing episode, but first things first, we want to make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, share this information out to everybody who you think will be, able to just enjoy it and journey through their life with this information that they're getting. We have a great guest today.
Yes.
An awesome guest by the name of Kimberly Drake.
Yes.
Come on, round of applause. Okay. So today we will be talking with Miss Kimberly Drake about grief to grace. And it's just such an impactful journey and story that she'll be sharing with us today. And so I got tissues ready. We on board, like we're locked and loaded. And so please just give a warm welcome to Miss Kimberly Drake. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here with you guys.
Thank you. So we'll be talking about from grief to grace today, pretty much a caregiver's journey through loss, healing, and hope, right? Mm-hmm. So first and foremost, please tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is Kimberly Drake. I am a clinical nurse coordinator at Medical City, Dallas. I've been a nurse for the last 22 years. Mm-hmm. Wow. And I am a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, multiple hats. And I have a blog called Kim Talks Blog, and I also have an organization called Be Unique, where we focus on youth making confidence a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So that's who we are today, right? Mm-hmm. But there was a storm that you encountered previously.
During your life journey. Yes.
So how did you manage grief while continuing to show up as a mother, a nurse, and a spouse? And tell me kind of a little bit of how you got to that point.
Well, definitely was hard, but I leaned on my faith. Faith definitely has gotten me through. Without God's grace and mercy, I wouldn't be here, because there were times that I didn't think I could handle it all. Mm-hmm. I felt like everything was coming down on me. But because I know I'm rooted and grounded in God, I leaned to my faith, and that's what got me through. Okay. And of course, my community, my family, my friends, that definitely makes a difference. So between faith and community, that's what.
Now, talk to me a little bit about the grief. What happened, and what was that like?
Because you was wearing many hats as a mother, a nurse, a leader, a spouse, right?
Yes.
So tell me what happened during that process while you was running these hats.
Well, recently with the whole grief process, it was like an 18-month journey. Mm-hmm. So I got engaged. I was so excited. I was ready to go tell my parents, like, hey, I'm getting married. And my mom, she suffered from dementia. My dad has COPD. And so even though my mom had dementia, with dementia, they have periods of time, periods of clarity. Right. So I went to tell her that I was engaged, and I knew that she knew that I was happy, because she hugged me and she said, everybody deserves somebody. Yeah. And that just like warmed my heart. I was like, she knows, she really knows that I'm happy. And so I went through that process and started planning a wedding. Mm-hmm. And I guess about 5 or 6 months in, I got a call that they was going to have to put my mom on hospice. So we made that decision. And that was one of the hardest decisions of my life, because, as a nurse, hospice usually means it's about that time, right. And I had to roll with it. And then so that was April, May, June. So about 3 months later, my mom passed. So I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to plan a wedding. And I'm like, and now I'm in the process of planning a funeral. So help my dad with planning the funeral and everything. My dad was the one that kept me going, to be honest, because I just wanted to be strong for him.
Right.
I knew he had lost his wife of 61 years, and I didn't want to just break down. So I felt like that's what held me together.
Right.
So taking care of my dad, making sure he was good. And for a while, he seemed like he was getting back, in the swing of things. And then he just took a turn, and he had a heart attack. He got better, then he fell, and then it just like spiraled from there. So I went from being so excited about getting engaged to my mom passing to now my dad's in the hospital and trying to, figure that whole part out. All while still trying to plan a wedding. And my daughter's a senior about to graduate from high school. So I'm like, Lord, how do we do this? How do we manage all of this? And I remember it was about 3 weeks before my dad passed. He had fell. And we went down to see about him, and we laid in bed all day, and we was watching some football game. And I was like, Dad, how you feeling? He's like, oh, the old body wearing down. So every time he starts to talk like that, I'm like, Dad, you're fine. You're okay,
Right.
And so we was getting ready to leave, and my dad, he went and took a shower, and he, got all ready. And I said, oh, look at you. I said, you got some energy. I was like, all right. I was like, so you getting ready to walk me down the aisle? And he said, no, I'm probably not going to be able to do that. When I tell you the life left out of me, because I was like, Dad, what do you mean? And so tears started rolling down my eyes, and he was like, no, you got to be strong. You got to be strong. And so I'm like, all right, Dad. I was like, I don't want to hear it. And so he started talking to me and Mark, and he said, you got to slow down. You trying to do too much. He was like, you can't do everything. And so I was like, okay, Dad. And then Mark came in, and he told Mark the same thing. He was like, yeah, you trying to be everywhere for everybody. You got to slow down. And he was like, when I passed out the other day, he said, I was at peace. And he said, I want that peace back. And a part of me was like, oh, I can help you with this piece. You stay here. We can figure out the piece.
Right.
But then a part of me was like, he was married for 61 years to my mom. So I know he wants that back. And I can't be selfish as I'm enjoying this moment of getting ready to go into holy matrimony and want him to stay here. And so we got ready to leave. He was like, you can make it home. I promise ain't nothing going to happen tonight. So I was like, okay. And it didn't. But 3 weeks later, like 3 o'clock in the morning, I got a phone call, and my sister was just screaming, and he passed away. And then I remember he passed away on a Wednesday, and then my bridal shower was that Saturday.
So let's go back. So through this, you was a caregiver, taking care of your loved one, planning the wedding, being a mother, and also a nurse.
New engaged,
So you was juggling all this. I want you to answer this question. What was the biggest emotional challenge during that time that you faced while trying to navigate the situation?
Trying to allow myself to feel. Because I never want to be a burden to people. So a lot of times I'll try to keep stuff inward and try to be strong for everybody. And that was one thing that my dad would say is, you can't be strong for everybody. He said, sometimes you got to think about you. And that was my hardest struggle, because I was like, I can't drop the ball because everybody needs me.
Right.
So if I drop the ball, everything's going to crumble. And that's something that throughout this journey, I've had to learn that it's not in my hands. It's in God's hands.
Right.
And I will lose my mind if I continue to try to keep control.
And with that too, because you were getting ready to celebrate such a just huge accomplishment, engaged, about to get married, but also you're dealing with everything else, but you were previously married, correct? And so you probably have that emotional kind of thing going on with the divorce that happened there. So kind of talk to me about that too. Like how going into that, what were you even thinking emotionally and mentally before even of mom and dad even happened with that?
Well, the thing with my last husband, the reason why it made it so hard for me to be vulnerable and to let people in was because when I was married previously, I was really sick after I had my son. I ended up with an ulcer that I didn't know about that perforated. And so I lost half the blood of my body in my toilet that day. And I went into emergency surgery. They had to cauterize the ulcer. They didn't think I was going to make it. And I was in ICU, but my mom was there, like, no, you're going to be here for your kids. You got to stay here. And so my ex-husband, my husband at the time, was not supportive. And I remember my mom watching the kids and letting him come to the hospital. And I'm got a blood transfusion going, hooked up to IVs. And he said, well, how long you expect for me to go through this with you?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, And the person I was like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
And he left and went wherever he was going. So my mom thinking that he's at the hospital and he's gone wherever. But that hurt me. That rocked me to the core. Right. And so I built up a wall. So when I got to, my new relationship with Mark, it took me a while to bring that down because I was like, I'm never going to let no one make me feel like that again.
Right.
So in my vulnerable moments,
in
my vulnerable moments, even with grief, it was hard for me to
lean on him
But he made it easier because he was like, I'm not him. You can be vulnerable with me.
Let me ask a question real quick while we're on that. He made it easier, but you still had to realize it.
Oh, yeah.
So what did he do? What did he say that said, okay, you know what? Let me let my guards down. What was that moment that you got, okay, you know what?
That aha moment.
I can let my walls down with him.
Now, it wasn't easy at first because I think it was a learning period for him also.
Right.
And so, because he wasn't used to so much happening in a relationship, so much going on.
Right.
And so, at first, I would have moments where I felt like, I was a bother to him. And so I would pull back. And then eventually, he realized, and he came to me and was like, hey, I'm not used to so much things happening in a relationship. And so it was new to me. But I realized that I want to be here for you and I want to support you and you can be vulnerable with me. And then he started showing it through his actions and showing up and being present. And so as I started watching, then I was like, well, maybe he is a little genuine.
Right.
And so I slowly, it wasn't like instant, but I slowly started letting the walls down. And then now I'm like, ooh, I'll cry. And I'll be like, boy, I'm struggling today.
Right.
But,
I love that because it's different facets to a caregiver. And I think we talk about that all the time, but I don't think people really understand it. When we say a mother, a daughter, a caregiver, I'm also employed, all these different things take a toll on our life, right? They play different parts. And when one is holding on by a thread, you could lack in a lot of areas. But then when you have the caregiving, then my health, and then it's just a lot.
So a caregiver's journey is...
It's not the same.
It's never ending.
And it can be stressful, right? Because you're taking care of someone, but you're also trying to take care of yourself.
Yeah, because even in the moment where I was sick with my stomach, and I ended up finding out I had gastroparesis. And so I literally got separated in October and was struggling with, going in and out of surgery myself. And then in December, my daughter ended up on life support for 6 weeks. So I'm trying to juggle, like, running in and out of work when I could, and then newly separated and going to appointments myself. I remember my daughter was in the ICU. I had surgery, and when they discharged me, they said, okay, so is your driver coming? I was like, oh no, just wheel me to room 555.
Yeah.
Right.
And they were like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm going back to my daughter's room. So literally I was dealing with my own health challenges, and then I'm going back to make sure she's good. Because, I mean, she was in a coma on life support.
Wow.
I wasn't going to leave her for too long.
Wow.
And so that was the storm.
Wow. Wow.
And then came healing, right? In what ways did your healing come? I know you talk about different things on your blog about how counseling was one of those inner work. So kind of talk to me a little bit about how did counseling help you navigate the pain and loss and the pressure of, like, just daily life?
So counseling was a big thing. When my mom first got on hospice, I started the counseling because like I said, I wanted to be there for my dad. And I knew I couldn't because I felt myself, like, losing myself. I felt myself going down that deep hole because my mom was my best friend. Like, she literally, when I got divorced, uprooted and came and watched my kids for me the nights that I went to work, and then would go back and take care of my dad and could go back and forth. And so our relationship was super strong. And so the counseling helped me, gave me the tools that I needed. And it was somebody neutral, So it wasn't anybody in your family.
Right.
It wasn't Mark. So I didn't have that feeling of being a burden because I'm like, well, it's your job.
Right.
So I can just, like, spit it all out to you. And so, but the counselor I had, she literally let me know that it's okay. It's okay to feel. It's okay to cry. It's okay to hurt. You don't have to be this superwoman and put on this cape, because I'll wear a smile in a minute and no one will know half the stuff I'm going through. But when I'm behind closed doors, she'd let me know that it's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to scream. It's okay to be mad. Because it was, for a minute, I was mad. I was upset, like, God, why now? Why, why all this pain? Why me? And then I had to just change the narrative and be like, why not me? And not have, like, the victim mentality and realize that, okay, well, he must be doing this for a reason. And so that's how the blog came about. Because I'm like, I'm going through life's ups and downs and journeys. And I always was this little girl that life is a fairy tale. And, I'm going to be married for 60 plus years and have this big house and fancy cars and stuff like that. And then as life is life, and you realize life is not a fairy tale.
Right.
But it is my story to tell. And so that's what manifested me starting the blog. And it actually is healing for me.
So, in saying that, what do healing look like for you now? Personally, professionally, and spiritually?
Healing looks like for me is allowing myself, like I said, to feel. And not really caring what anybody thinks about it.
Right.
Whether they're going to judge me, whether they're going to say, oh, she's being selfish, allowing myself to rest, allowing myself to, just be me. And that, I feel like, is healing within itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that.
Take the mask off.
Right.
And it's so important, because I know a lot of caregivers, they're always like, I feel like I'm on this island by myself. And they say, I don't want to be upset because, or I don't want to, take it out because it's like that's my mom. That's what I'm supposed to do, or I'm not supposed to be frustrated because this is what I need to do. But at the same time, I think it's important for everybody to understand that you do have feelings and emotions, and it is important for you to let them out, because the more that you keep it in, you just bottle it up, and next thing you know, you explode.
Right, and I think caregiver is the right term, but for the caregivers out there, you are a person that wear many hats.
Right.
You wear many emotions on your sleeves, and you do a great job, right? Like Kim just said, why me? Then she turned around and said, why not me?
Right.
And you're excellent. That's all I have to say. That's awesome, Kim.
Yes,
awesome.
I'm telling you, anyone that is a caregiver and that is taking care of a loved one, just know that it's okay for you to not be okay. It's okay for you to not have great days. Right. But what you do after that is what matters the most. Like, are you just going to lay there and just take it, or are you going to use that as fuel to keep you going? And so that's what I do. You know, I just use it as fuel.
And caregiving is a balancing act, right? So you want to be able to care for others without losing yourself, right? And so how did you balance your role as a caregiver with work and with home?
Oh, it was hard. It was hard. It was sometimes, you know, because I'm a clinical nurse coordinator and I'm in a leadership role. So it's a lot of times you get to work and, you know, people are going through things themselves and they're coming to you and they want to talk to you about it. And you may have so much on your mind that you like, I'm about to explode, you know? And so you have to try to, you know, separate church from state and be like, okay, I got this, you know, and go in and just be there for them. And a lot of times things that I've been through, I actually tell, you know, some of my employees, I'm like, hey, this is what I went through in life and this is how I navigated it. Because a lot of them are a lot younger, you know, and so that helps them because it makes it relatable. Right. Because they're like, oh, well, you know, you've been through some things too.
Okay, so tell me this. For the caregivers that's out there listening to you, okay? What strategies or routines help you stay grounded and when you're feeling overwhelmed in life?
Prayer. Prayer is the biggest one. You know, also journaling, which my journaling turned into my blogs. But prayer has been the biggest things. When I tell you, I have had to cry out to God. Wow. Because there were times that I just felt like I wasn't going to make it. Yeah. Like, I felt like it's just too much. Yeah. Like, for one person, you know? Especially when I was a single mom. It was very hard because you felt so alone. And so, thankfully, I had a praying mom. Right. Because the time that my daughter was in the coma in ICU and she coded and I was in the room. Yes, I'm a nurse, but when you're in that moment,
it's everything go out the window.
You're not thinking on nurse level. You're thinking on my child is fighting for her life. Right. And I remember going down the hallway because my mom was in the waiting room and they was she had coded and I was like, Kim, do not faint in this room because they need to focus on her. And I remember just trying to walk down the hallway and the hallway felt like it was just getting longer. Wow. And I got down there and I don't know if I blacked out or what, because when I realized where I was, the chaplain was there and I was just crying on his sleeve. But my mom was in that corner and she was on her knees and she was praying and speaking in tongues over my child's life. Wow. And my child is about to be 20 years old today. All right. And this is when she was 4 years old. But because I had a praying mom, a praying father, and I'm a praying woman, that is what is allowed me to continue in all these multiple hats.
Okay.
And so with that, because really that's support. That's really support. And so now we're had the storm, there's healing. Now we're like the rainbow after the storm, right? And so that's really that support system. So what does support look like for you now, especially as a wife, a mom, and a leader?
Open open communication. You know, just knowing that I have someone to lean on, talk to. My husband is very supportive. He's there for me. He allows me to be myself. He allows me to be vulnerable. So that is all the support I need. And then as far as work, just being able to communicate with the staff, communicate with my fellow employees, and just knowing that they understand that sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have to delegate that. I'm not gonna be able to do that.
Well,
So that right there is the support.
Let me, speaking on the rainbow, right? For someone that don't have family, in the sense of they're a caregiver and they don't have a husband or they don't have children or whatever the case, but they're going through something, what would you say the best fit for them to help them?
Model resilience.
Yeah. What would you say would help them?
I would definitely say you need to have a counselor, an outlet.
Right.
Because caregivers typically keep things inside, or they feel like they got to keep, everything together. So they feel as though they don't want to let no one in.
Right.
And if they don't have anyone, that's even worse.
Right.
So definitely having, whether it's church or professional, but someone that you can talk to and just like blow steam off to, where you don't feel judged.
That's what I was finna say, judge-free zone.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the blog, Kim Talks, right? Okay, so tell us more about the blog, the voice behind the blog. What do you want readers when they come on to kind of get from you?
Well, I want readers to know that when you come to the blog, you are talking to someone that's real, that's relatable, that's been through some things. It's not all cookies and cream, and that's okay. I want them to know that they may be going through things that I've already gone through, and this is how I have overcame it, or I'm still overcoming it. Because it's not perfect. I still have my moments, but just letting them know that it's a process, and if I can get through it, you can too.
Right.
Wow. And
so the blog originally started out with your caregiving journey, right? And then the story of the storm and the grief. What can viewers kind of expect to see moving forward as well?
Well, I want to talk through life's challenges. And so that goes back to my health challenges. It goes back through, divorce, single motherhood, and just how I went through it, because I want to touch different audiences to let them know that, hey, I went through, being there for my mom and dad and losing them both within a year of each other. And I'm still standing. I went through a divorce. I'm still standing. I went through single parenting, and I'm still standing. So no matter what comes and what the enemy tries to, throw at you, just know that you can still be standing too, but it's a conscious decision to do that. It's like, are you going to stand or are you going to fall? So you got to make that decision.
Right.
I want to encourage the listeners out there to go to Kim Talks blog.
Please.
This young lady right here, this powerful woman of God, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That is standing on her beliefs, and is standing on her truth, and is standing on her lessons learned through life as a caregiver, a mother, a wife. So please tap into Kim Talk. Give
them all the details of where they can go and check you out and follow you and kind of just follow the journey in the blog.
Yes, you can go to kimtalks.net. That is my website, and you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Kim Talks Blogs.
Yes. So I hope this encouraged you guys, because when you're navigating grief, when you're navigating being a caregiver, or just life transitions as a whole, it can be very daunting, and it can feel like you're alone. But like you said, you can still stand and you can get through it. So I hope that this kind of helped you kind of just know that there is a team. That's what this podcast is about. It's the journey out. It's us coming together as a community and journeying from one life's transition to the next. But we're doing it with community, and we're doing it with love, and we're doing it as a whole. So I hope this has blessed y'all in tremendous ways. Because look, I tried to keep it together. I had a little I tried to keep it together, and I think I did a good job. So thank you, Kim. So now, just making me drown over here. But
Listen.
this was amazing, and I thank you.
Thank y'all so very much.
problem.
Thank you. I appreciate
No problem.
you.
We out of here, man.
We out.
Peace out.
Thank
Peace
y'all.
out.